people are coming back. People are coming back after hundreds of years of being denied their Jewish heritage.
On a history that was hidden, and I say hidden, not lost, but actually I think it was hidden.
It's a piece that's missing. People have not understood it. People have not known about it. And it's been this big secret.
What happened in Sefarad is a very important segment of Jewish and world history that was overlooked.
And they'd say to me, I have really strange things. We're definitely not Jewish, but we somehow always seem to light candles on Friday night.
I started my Jewish life as a convert, and very happily so. My soul had aligned with my person. It's,
whoa, my God, it's incredible. My country, the country I love, is Jewish too.
Where did we come from? And how did these people come to Mexico, come to the southern part of the United States?
They say that 25 to 50% of the early colonists to Latin America were recently converted from Judaism, meaning in the last generation before they came. I mean, this is an extraordinary idea.
The word Sefarad in Hebrew literally means Spain. But in historical context, the Sefarad refers to the Jews of the Iberian Peninsula, nowadays Spain and Portugal. So when I first discovered the story of Sefarad, I realized that it was a monumental, far-reaching segment of Jewish and world history with profound consequences. As an example, in the year 711, the Moors, which were Muslims from North Africa, attacked and conquered southern Spain, the region we now call Andalusia. The Muslims, being Semites, were more accepting of the Jews and allowing them to practice their religion openly. In fact, more interesting is that the Muslims actually collaborated with the Jews, often placing them in important and high-ranking positions. This harmony created the period we call the Golden Age, a period of enlightenment, prosperity, a time when the Iberian Peninsula became a thriving center, cultivating Jewish philosophers, poets, scientists. But this golden age ends when the Christian kingdoms reconquer southern Spain, leading to the end of the Moorish era, and brings back a ruthless period of oppression, persecutions, and mass massacres of the Jews. During these massacres, thousands of Jews were killed, thousands fled, and thousands were forcibly converted.
To my understanding, during the 350 years of the Inquisition in Spain, 3,000 people were executed for Judaizing. But they weren't interested in killing people. They were interested in making them true Christians. That was really the goal, making them true Catholics. Whereas the Holocaust, of course, was the annihilation of the Jewish people. The Inquisition was the annihilation of the Jewish faith.
And Jews had basically two choices, many of these people. One was to accept death. One was to run away. And many people, they fled to Portugal. Some went to Turkey. Some were captured, and some got to Morocco, where there's still a Jewish community. But the great majority went to Portugal, which was across the border.
The Spanish Inquisition was interesting, particularly about that, and the Portuguese Inquisition. And what many people don't know, which we discussed in the film, Columbus set sail the very same week that the Jews were forced to leave Spain. The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria were in the harbors with ships filled with Jews fleeing for safety. And most people have no idea.
Crypto-Jews and converses are used intermittently. To be sure, they are both describing Jews that were converted to Christianity. Crypto-Jews refer to those who converted but try to hold on to their Jewish traditions in secret. These crypto-Jews had to live double life, Christians by day and Jews by night, or in hiding,
And of course, Crypto-Judaic studies, the crypto-Jews, the diaspora was all over the world. I mean, it wasn't just New Mexico or Brazil or Mexico or Morocco.
And these people fanned out not just to Latin America, but they went all over the Mediterranean, all over Europe. So the implications literally touched every single nation. And these were educated people, and they transformed and they contributed to every culture they went to.
Since the start of Brazil, since the people from Europe, from Portugal came to Brazil, the Jews were here. That Brazil was created by Jews too.
And one small group was really crazy, gets to a place called Manhattan, which is obviously Manhattan. And when it came time for the American Revolution, Jews were already well integrated into the United States, so much so that if you remember, George Washington read the freedom of religion, the First Amendment, was read at the Touro Synagogue in Newport, Rhode Island. So ironically, if it hadn't been for Peter Stuyvesant or the expulsion from Portugal and Brazil, we probably would not have the First Amendment and freedom of religion in the United States today.
We know that there's about 18% of the American population is Hispanic. That means we're talking around 60 million people. Of those 60 million people, how many have Jewish heritage in their background?
I discovered that the descendants of those Jews are still alive. Okay, it's sure that they are still alive, but as Jews.
The piece that I represent is a very much living piece that is still crypto. It's still very crypto because many of my family do not want us to talk about it. And when I was growing up, we knew we did things, but we didn't talk about it. Why? And maybe didn't even understand why.
My grandmother and grandfather were first cousins. My grandmother had taught me a lot of customs as I was growing up, always in the kitchen. And I was taught these, and it never occurred to me that they could have been Jewish at some point. I don't know why it didn't occur to me. And Mom showed up with a little box and said, your grandmother wanted this to give to you on the day of her death. So on that morning when I opened the box and I see she left me Star of David earrings and a Hamsa box, and I said, oh my gosh, just something incredible, because I think she was trying to tell me that they were always Jews. And why she didn't verbalize this to me, I have no idea. And because being Jewish was such an incredible, amazing pride and joy for me, I decided that, you know what, I'm going to research my heritage.
When my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer, there was a study of her chromosome structure, and she had the BRCA gene, which is BRCA1 gene, which is typical of the people of the San Luis Valley, southern Colorado, and northern New Mexico, of the crypto-Jews that settled out there. And so that was my first big aha. Then I did DNA tests, Michael. And in those DNA tests, we found that we had European Jewish, mostly Spanish, and Rabbi Harry Rosenfeld certified that Mr. Lorenzo Alan Trujillo, a national of the United States of America and holder of legally valid American passport, has a Sephardic Jewish heritage and descendants from those families who were unjustly expelled from Spain or forced to convert to Christianity since 1492.
Pack up everything. I go back to Israel. It takes them 2 years to translate everything into Hebrew. I finally get a letter back stating from the Beit Din Gadol, the large rabbinical court in Israel, stating that God had brought me to this place in a very roundabout way, and that no one could ever question that I was born Jewish, that all my ascendants and all my descendants would be Jewish, are Jewish, and that there is no question that I am a born Jew.
I know some people always ask me, Lorenzo, isn't there a conflict when you go into the Catholic Church? No, because Jesus was a Jew.
The saga of Sefarad continues to this day, unfolding at present moment right here in our backyard, the United States of America and around the world. Most continue to live as committed Catholics, but many continue to practice those hidden Sephardic traditions they inherited. DNA studies suggest that 1 in 4 Latinos is a descendant of Jewish ancestry. Thousands are uncovering the Jewish roots, and some are seeking return. The implications for the future of the Jewish people and Israel are immeasurable. But the glaring difference is that there are only 16 million Jews in the world today, and there are at least 200 million plus conversos. You got to pay attention to the numbers. 16 million Jews in total, and we have at least 200 million and probably more conversos.
We lost 6 million people in the Holocaust. I cannot bring those people back, no matter what I want. But you know what? There are tremendous new opportunities for the Jewish world to find people who might be interested in rejoining the Jewish world and replenishing numbers in a way that a gift from God. We can either seize the opportunity or deal with the danger. That's something we as a Jewish community have got to think through.
And I think the story of Sefarad, as you're representing it, is a story of hope, because with the Holocaust, as you said in your last interview, the fate of these people was final. With Sefarad, these people are still here, and there's hope there.
Think of this concept. 1 out of every 4 Latinos is a descendant of Sefarad. That's an amazing story.
Oh, you are not stranger. You are just like me. You are exactly like me. So suddenly we made people that hated the Jews to think maybe I came from these people too, and to use this to fight against the anti-Semitism.
The story of Sefarad is a story of hope. It's a story of revival. People are coming back. People are coming back after hundreds of years of being denied their Jewish heritage. People are finding out that this was stolen from them, and they actually speak about it on those terms. And as I said, many embrace their heritage, whether they come back or not.
Where Brazil, because the Jewish story is happening very, very, very strong here. The country who has the biggest population of descendants of Jews, a country who love the Jews. It's amazing.
Here's something that's not only relevant historically, it's unfolding today. Where do you have a segment of history that's living out its consequences in present day? And that's what's happening here. I believe that in 100 years from now, or maybe less, when we look back at history, this story that's unfolding now is going to be a pivotal part of Jewish history. Thank you for watching our video. If you wish to learn more about this fascinating unfolding story, or if you wish to get involved and support our mission in reviving this important segment of Jewish history, please visit our dedicated page, the Jewish Heritage Alliance, getinvolved.com. Thank you.